Good.
Good morning, everyone, again, and welcome to Wise Tank. So this today is where financial wisdom will be meeting real world impact. So today, you won't be watching entrepreneurs pitch businesses, but today what you'll be able to see is watching financial educators actually pitch ideas that change lives. So our Wise Money instructors, they have stepped into the tank today, and they are going to share how they are helping individuals and families build financial confidence, clarity, and control with their money. So you will get a first-hand look at their unique teaching styles, their passion for financial literacy, and the creative ways that they help others make wise money moves. Now, so just like the famous show Shark Tank, each instructor, they will have a few minutes to present their pitch, but instead of asking for an investment in dollars, they will be asking for your support, your attention, and your engagement. So at the end, our panel of wise sharks, and that includes you, our audience, you will have the chance to ask questions if you like and decide where to invest your wise time. Each instructor here today, they represent a unique pillar of the Wise Money Initiative. And that goes from debt management to entrepreneurship, building trust, investing, homeownership, and insurance. Now we have 4 different modules with like 24 different classes, but these are the ones we're going to talk about today. So though their specialties differ, they share one common mission, and that is to make financial education practical, personal, and powerful. So get ready to take notes, get inspired, and maybe even rethink your own money habits, because today it's not about the biggest pitch, it's about the wisest one. So let's dive into the Wise Tank. Our first instructor today is going to be talking about home ownership, and that will be Mr. Ivan Williams. But just to kind of give you guys what Module 1, when we go into our, what we will be teaching on in 2026, and Module 1 is considered new money. So that's going to be the basics of wealth creation. And in those courses, we will be teaching about credit and budgeting, career planning, home buying, investment accounts, and then also insurance options. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up our first wise shark, and that will be Mr. Ivan Williams.
Denise Hadnot, our fearless leader. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, as Denise said, my name is Ivan Williams, and I'm going to be talking about home buying. Welcome, everyone. Yep, come on in. Home buying Home buying, as a lot of people have been introduced to it, is similar to House Hunter. Probably almost everyone has seen House Hunters on TV. It's on HGTV, might be on Home or things like that. Person is looking for a home. They hook up with a real estate agent, and they go see 3 homes, and magically they pick one of those homes, and magically they get accepted to buy that home, and magically they move all their stuff in. And I really use the term magically because that's all for TV, and that's not how that goes, okay? It's all really great entertainment. It's all a very good show, and it's a very, very, very 10,000 level, high level look of what home buying actually is. You don't see all the background or the back end of what actually goes into home buying. It can be fun, it can be exciting, it can be exhilarating. It's one of the largest investments or largest purchases that you'll have in your entire life. Maybe twice, maybe 3 times, maybe 5 times. In the Houston area, typically people stay in their homes about 5 years and then move on. It's more commoditized than staying in a home for 20 years, 30 years, and things like that. But if you're lucky, if we're blessed financially, we can purchase a home or even purchase a home for investment. But let's start off with the very important part of improving your credit score. It's a hot topic, it's a taboo topic. We are here in the Wise Money Ministry to talk to you about real world implications of wise money. And to talk about real world implications of wise money, we have to get a little bit personal. We have to get a little bit into what people consider your business. And people consider your business as your credit score. Credit score is nothing to be afraid of. It is a tool in your toolbox to help you get to being advanced in wise money. It is not a ding, it is not an exclamation, it is a tool in your toolbox to be used as you navigate wise money. So as the first slide says, improving your credit score. When you're looking to purchase a home, you're looking to ask a bank, if you don't have a bucket full of money. Now, if you have a bucket full of money, then this part gets really easy. If anybody has a bucket full of money, they can raise their hand, because I might want to talk to them. Okay, so if you don't have a bucket full of money, then you'll be asking a bank or some lending institution to lend you some money. You'll say, hey, I like this house over here. I'm a really nice person, really honest person. I want to buy this house. Lend me the money to help me buy this house. Well, they're going to look at you and say, yeah, you're pretty cool, drive a nice car, dress pretty good, go to a great church. But what we're going to use is your credit score. So if your credit on paper is not as well as they like, then they're going to ask you, or we're going to talk to you about improving your credit score. So there's two different type of inquiries that lending institution is going to do on your credit score, on your credit history. They're going to look you up in systems. There's three or four different credit agencies that keep track of our credit. They can be a hard inquiry, and under hard inquiry, where it stays on your credit that this person is looking for credit, it can be visible to anyone who pulls your credit report, can impact scores for up to 2 years, so it can stay on your credit report for 2 years. And yes, a credit inquiry can stay on your credit report for up to 2 years. Kind of circular logic there. But it requires your direct permission or putting in an actual application. They can't just run your credit willy-nilly. They can't just put it on your report willy-nilly, especially because it impacts you for 2 years. Now there's other ones through Credit Karma and Bankrate.com that can do soft inquiries. Now that's when you're just thinking about maybe getting a car or getting a house or getting an apartment or getting a whatever, and they're just looking, they're not hard inquiring into your credit report. So that, it's not visible to others, just to the folks who pulled your credit. It won't impact your credit score. It does not require your direct permission or application for credit. In many ways, especially in the Houston area, they'll pull a soft inquiry when you're looking to get certain types of insurance as well, just so you know. But those typically don't wind up on your credit report. So the very first thing that we try to teach you is, hey, since other people are going to be looking at your credit score, let's talk about getting your credit score ready to actually purchase a home. Next slide. So, as I said, if you don't have a bucket full of money, then you're going to be talking to a lender, a finance person about, hey, I want to borrow some money. And with that borrowing of money, there's various types of borrowing of money, different types of loans. The most common loans are FHA, which are government-backed or government-guaranteed loans. There's conventional ones. People have heard about that, where you're typically putting 20% down or 15% down for conventional loans, and they're not backed by any government agency. Then there's VA loans for our veterans who have entitlements under being a veteran that is backed by the Veterans Organization. And there's jumbo loans, which go beyond a set standard by the government to go to $500,000, $1 million, $1.5 million homes, and they're called jumbo loans. So many times people walk into a lending establishment and they have an idea of, hey, I want to do the FHA loans, we're going 3% down, 2% down. Conventional loans, typically about 20% down or a little bit less. VA loans can vary a myriad of options to that as far as putting money down or putting money down toward the loan. But there's certain qualifications. One, of course, you happen to be a veteran. So those loans have a little bit different standard where you have to put in paperwork, you have to do certain types of inspections on the property. They want to make sure that when a veteran buys a home, that they're not purchasing a higher cost home than what the market wants, or they're not purchasing a completely rundown home. So they do certain types of inspections to make sure that the veteran is purchasing a really nice home. And then there's the jumbo loans, which typically that has to do with price and things like that. So those are the four typical types of loans. FHA, government-backed. We've heard of Freddie and Fannie Mae. Those are government agencies that back loans. So the next part is the most amazing slide that I actually put in here, and I put it in here on purpose because it's really small print and it says home buying process, and we can help you along your home buying journey, but it really looks complicated, doesn't it? It looks complicated. But to professionals that you'll be meeting in this class and in this ministry, it is not complicated at all. It starts with hiring a realtor. Then it starts with the are you pre-qualified by the lender? And getting pre-qualified by the lenders talks back to the credit score aspect. And then it goes out to finding a home that you like. So when we go look at house hunters, you know, they start in and they start with, you got a realtor, then you got some folks, and then they start looking at houses. They skip the step about getting pre-qualified and skip the step about credit score. So we don't want to skip those steps in our process. And we want to help you through this entire process so that it's not scary, because education makes things not be scary. And we're here to walk you through that. Okay? All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Ivan. So our next Wise Shark is going to be Jasmine Whitehead, and she's going to talk to us today about insurance and building generational wealth with insurance.
Hi, good morning, everybody, Wise family. My name is Jasmine Whitehead, and I am a financial consultant. I have a heart for helping people understand money, how to protect it, how to grow it, and how to pass it on. Many of us work our whole lives, but never really truly build lasting wealth. Why? Because we never really were taught the difference between just having insurance and having a financial plan that creates a legacy. The problem: lack of financial literacy and generational wealth. Why? Because we never were taught the difference between just having insurance and a financial plan that creates the legacy. So the solution is life insurance education. Sorry guys. Cash value, growth strategies, that's what my class is all about. Financial education that builds protection and wealth at the same time. Class topics today: term, whole, universal, and index universal life, building cash value, retirement planning, and legacy building. How many of us have car insurance? Everybody? Just wanna make sure. Checking. Alright, here. So term life insurance, simple and affordable. Protection for a set number of years, which is term. Great for families who want to make sure loved ones are covered if some unexpected happens. Whole life, meaning your whole life, so that is a permanent policy that's gonna stem for your whole entire life until you pass away. Uncomfortable, but that's life. This one lasts your entire life and builds what we call cash value, money that grows inside of your policy and can be borrowed against for things like emergency, education, even starting a business or possibly purchasing a home. Universal life insurance, this gives you flexibility. You can adjust your payment and coverage, your financial situation changes, and it also builds cash value over time. It's one of my faves. Index universal life, which you will hear a lot of people saying IUL, IUL, IUL if you have. My personal favorite one to teach on, this one lets you build cash value, grow based on the performance of the stock market with protection from the market losses, meaning that if the market ever goes to zero, you'll be capped out from not going to the floor. And your money's still gonna grow, no matter what the stock market is doing. It is a powerful tool to use because it builds tax-free retirement income and creates generational wealth. Building cash value. The key here is understanding cash value is like your personal savings account inside your life insurance policy. How many of us have a 401k? Okay, just check. Do you own it? No, probably everybody got it through their jobs? Okay, all right, so we wanna make sure we own it. Right? Okay. All righty, so let me get that. This is how families start shifting from simply surviving to strategically building wealth. Your money starts working for you, creating opportunities, options, and stability for generations to come. The impact: build family protection and generational wealth. How many of us had to pay for college or go get loans or anything like that? How many of us had to work to go to school just to pay for it? All right, just checking. When we learn how to use these tools right away, we stop depending on jobs, government programs for financial security. Instead, we become our own bank. We leave more than memories, we leave inheritance, opportunity, and knowledge. All right, so I'm gonna close with saying thank you so much for taking the time to hear me out, little old me here. Why me? I do this work because I've seen a gap firsthand between generations that struggle and those that thrive. My mission is to bridge the gap between that by providing information. When we know better, we do better. And when we do better, our families prosper. I want to leave you with this. As it says in Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves inheritance to his children and his children's children. That's not just about leaving money. It's about leaving wisdom, preparation, and provision. God calls us to be wise stewards of what He's entrusting us. So if you're ready to learn how to make your money work for you, how to protect what matters most, how to create a lasting legacy, this class is for you. Let's bridge the gap, build wealth, wisdom, and leave something that speaks for generations to come. Thank you so much for your time.
So are y'all at least learning some things about wise money? Seem like it's things that'll be helpful in the classes to come? Okay, good. Thank you, Jasmine. So in our module 2, this is working money. So this becomes the nuts and bolts of wealth construction. And so in module 2, we started going a little bit more into investing and insurance. We start talking a little bit more about beginning to invest in real estate. We also go into family business, which we start talking about trust, How many people have a trust? Okay, or an LLC? So these are the things that we start talking about in family business. We also get into refinancing. You bought a property, you need to refinance. We talk about ways to refinance and ways that you can use that, you may want to use that for your business if you refinance and do a cash out. And also we're going to talk about debt management. So our next wise shark is going to be Miss Tanya Thomas.
Thank you. Fun fact, I was on House Hunters, so if you do want some inside tips on how it works, see me after the class. Before I introduce what I'm going to talk about, I wanted to take you back through my childhood on some fond memories I have. Phone ringing, I think this was before we had caller ID, and my grandmother would say, "Don't you answer that phone. You don't know who that is." Most of the time it was a bill collector because we had some debt that she didn't want to pay. I go to college and I didn't have any money saved up, so I had to get a loan, several loans. By the time I graduated college in 4 years from a private school, I was $80,000 in debt. Another fond memory is someone passes in our family and they didn't have any life insurance. We didn't have any money saved, so what do? We got GoFundMe, we got chicken dinner plates that we're selling, or we had to cremate someone because we didn't have enough to cover for the funeral costs, because caskets cost like thousands of dollars, right? And so when I talk about debt management, it includes all of that. It's how do we be more responsible with our money that we do have? How do we pay off the debt that we have so that we can live not in shame or feeling like that we don't have enough to plan for our future. Again, my name is Tanya Thomas, and I come with over 18 years of experience with managing debt, paying off debt, and then working with my partner to plan together as we merge our finances. In 5 years, we paid off our house so that we own it outright. I paid my student loans off in 10 years. I bought an SUV a year and a half ago, and I paid it off in 15 months. So I am and then we bought my husband's car in March of this year, and we will have that paid off before December. So we don't have any debt. We don't have any debt. We actually have some savings, and now we're just trying to figure out how to invest. So I will be joining those classes where we talk about investing that money. So my scripture for my classes is, "Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you are free indeed." And so that's when you want to live a free life, because you can get anxiety, depression, all other things can happen when you are just afraid about how much money that you are in debt. Another quick stat I have for you is, as of mid-2025, the total U.S. household debt is a record of $18 trillion. Individually for a household, people are in debt over $105,000. So that's a lot of money that you can be using to put towards something else. So my class for this is debt management, and I'll talk about what you will be learning from that class. So it's basically how to take control of your life by taking control of your debt. It's knowing when to consolidate. We did do a lot of consolidation when we went to pay our house off, just to look at what we had as low interest rates or what we had that it was a higher payment per month, and consolidate that so that we can just pay one bill per month instead of separately. We'll go over the pros and cons of some tools that you can use, and then how to identify and leverage good debt. So at the beginning of COVID, when interest rates were down, we ended up refinancing our house, which was a year into us buying the house. We used the money from that to put back into the house, and that's how we were able to pay a lot of it off up front. So that's using the debt that we had to also pay off the debt and then become debt free. So it's ways to get around things in order to be smarter with your money. So then this class is talking about anyone who's struggling with debt or looking to create a payoff plan. So we did have a plan that we did every month. We have probably like 8 different accounts set up with our bank for different things. So we have one for personal date nights. We have one for my daughter. She's in softball. We spend about $300 to $500 a month on her softball. So there's a separate account just for softball. We have a separate account for vacations. We plan to go to Mexico this December. So if the money is not in that account, we do not go to Mexico. We plan on budgets, and that's why it's important, because if you don't, then you can easily overspend and not even realize it. This also is for people who are looking to free up their income for savings and investments, which is what we are doing now. I was talking to Chris, it's like, okay, we have the money now that we're not spending on the car note, on the student loans, on the credit cards, on the house. What am I gonna do with this money now? Because it's just sitting there without interest. So I was talking to him like, what do we do? What kind of real estate do we get into? How do we start investing this money that we have? And then also professionals looking to be more strategic in how they manage and optimize their debt for future wealth and growth. Is it next one? So my other topic, which is at the end of the session, this is 201 module. So 401 module is marriage and money. So again, I talked about how me and my husband worked together to create different accounts. When we first got married, we merged our accounts to have one big one, and then we have our separate personal account for shopping. So he doesn't know how much I spend on that. And so we keep things separate, but also a one big account. So in this portion of the series, we'll talk about prenups, what do you do before you get married, how to have those money conversations, because a lot of people don't have those up front. Talk about how much debt you're into versus the other person. You'll be surprised at when you get with someone how much debt they have before they bring that to the relationship. And then how to prepare for parenthood. When we found out we were pregnant, we opened up a 529. For my daughter. So when she graduates from high school, she'll have money for either college or whatever she wants to do with that money. So she'll have that already for her. We'll talk about when you have people staying with you, how do you manage your household when you have like expenses come up that are emergencies. So you know, when your car breaks down or if your air conditioner goes out like ours did in the summer, you have money set aside to be able to pay for those unexpected expenses. And then why it's important to have wills and trusts, which we don't have now, but that's another thing we're gonna do, and have just designations for life occurrences. So for this portion, it's for couples planning to marry or currently married who want to strengthen their relationship financially, parents or parents-to-be, preparing for that major transition to become parents, and then anyone else who's seeking practical tools to balance their relationship, family, and financial goals. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tanya. So how many people want the debt plan that Tanya has, so we can pay our house off in 5 years, right? I love that. Okay, so our next Wise Shark is going to be Miss Bridget Perkins, and she is going today to talk about exactly what Tanya was just mentioning about for family business. So she's going to talk about trust, benefits of LLCs, being able to combine both. Miss Bridget Perkins.
Good morning, good morning. All right. I have about 3 different sections that I want to try to cram in here between these 3 to 5 minutes that Ms. Hadnot gave us. She know I'm long-winded. But the first topic that I want to talk about is structuring businesses and how that helps not only with finances, but personal finances, but also with taxes for people who owe taxes. I'm going to talk about taxes and also structuring trust. Now, let's just get to it and be for real. We know that most businesses fail because of lack of finances. Lack of the finances, and if you have the finances, some of us misuse those finances. Just being honest, I've seen this over the last 25 years that I've been doing taxes. Now, the biggest issue that we have is we have amazing ideas, we have powerful gifts, and again, we lack the finances. We struggle to get funding and we struggle to get capital. And that's number one, simply because a lot of people do not structure their businesses correctly. Now, LLC, no, is not the only business structure. There are others, but the main one that we see in our community that I've seen is the LLCs. So there are others, but the LLCs are not structured properly. And I see all too often, and the way that I got into assisting people with structuring their businesses online. You see people saying, "Oh, you can do it yourself. Just go to the Secretary of State website. Don't pay nobody to do that for you," and this and that. And so I go in the comments, and the first thing people say is, "Oh, I got me some business cards and a logo." And I'm thinking, have you registered the business? Oh no, how do you do that? And I'm like, oh my God. So that's how I got into assisting people with this. Now, my background consists of, I have a business degree in business management, and I have an accounting degree. And I've been doing it for over 25 years. And I'm a senior accountant for an oil and gas company. And I got about 9 different businesses myself. And I'm still not a millionaire. That's the thing. So, but anyway, structuring your business properly is one of the main things that I see in getting the funds and capital that most businesses need. And yes, you can go on YouTube and they tell you, oh, make sure you have 1-800 number, make sure you have your address the same as this and this and that. But again, if it's not structured properly, whenever you start that LLC, it's still not going to benefit you. Also, having an LLC can assist people with their taxes. Now, you may have a love or a passion for artwork or making bead bracelets and waistbands, beads and stuff like that. And you just do it just to make a little extra money. But at the end of the year, when you pay your taxes and you have a $150,000 salary and your bottom line taxable income is still about $80,000, and now you owe about $8,000 on your tax return every year. Turn that bead company into an LLC. I don't care if you make $10 or $10,000 for the year. Because the strategy is, if you take a loss on that business, at least those first few years, that helps eat into your regular income, which lowers your tax liability and increase your tax refund. That's how it works. So, and a lot of people is like, they don't want to, deal with the business and structuring LLCs and all that. That's fine. But I have one client that I've had for the last 5 or 6 years, and I kept telling her, tell your husband to start an LLC. Oh yeah, we'll get to it every year. They make about $150,000, $160,000 between the both of them. They have children, which are deductions, which you would think that helps out. They have a home, which is the mortgage interest and stuff. You'd think that helps out, but it don't. They still end up owing a few $1,000s every year. Well, last year they finally decided to do an LLC, and I got them about $20,000 back on their tax return. Yes, ma'am. But anyway, so structuring your LLC properly in order to get that capital and funding. Now, you can walk into that bank, just like you said, with a 750, 800 credit score, all the money in the world in the bank account. You pull up in your Mercedes-Benz and your BMWs and you walk in with your Polo on or your Louis Vuitton, Gucci and Versace. But when they ask you to look at your financial statements, the first thing my people say is, what is that? They don't know what a financial statement is. Now, these are people with businesses now. Bookkeeping is the number 2 reason why our businesses lack getting securing capital and funding. The lack of bookkeeping. And that's my main job. I'm an accountant by profession. So the lack of bookkeeping is the second thing. So you can have all that money in the bank, but if you don't have anything on that bottom line when they ask to look at your financial statements, it's an automatic no. It's an automatic rejection. The first thing we don't want to say is, oh, they're just being racist and this and that. No, you're just not keeping up with those funds like you probably should. And we all know why. Some of them, because they go buy the Louis Vuitton and the Versace and the Gucci and the BMWs with that money. But anyway, so those are the 2 main reasons why LLCs or our businesses lack securing capital and funding. And then, like I said, that also helps out with your taxes. Now, we're talking about business structure. We talked about taxes. Now, how does all of that roll into trust and wills? Well, once you get all of this stuff established, and now you're making all this money with your businesses, and you've scaled up and everything, how do you secure your assets? We all know that just working a regular job is not going to make us millionaires. It's not gonna protect those assets that we wanna leave in our family legacies. It doesn't. Other people have always established trust. Us, some of us just have wills. Most of us don't. My mother died with no will. All of a sudden, in her sleep, 55 years old. But she had a house and property that's paid for in Louisiana. But me and my sister are the only two children that she had still living, and she didn't have a will. So we had to go through all type of paperwork, affidavit of heirship, all that stuff, just to secure her property so that the state would not take it. So the wills are okay, but whenever you start to build legacies, that's where the trust come in at. The trust. There's a lot of different trusts out there. Two of the terms that you definitely need to know is what is a revocable trust and what is an irrevocable trust. There's two different types. Under that is where you have different trusts. You have business trust, you have personal trust, and there's all types of things. So whenever you get into it, definitely do some research or consult with somebody who knows. Now, my disclaimer is I'm not an attorney. I do trust, and I do wills. I have software for that, and I have, again, we do this on our job for our boss. But I'm not an attorney, and once I do the trust, I do tell you to consult with an attorney about it to make sure that it is, legal under the terms of the state that you live in. But building those trusts is what protects your assets. Another thing too, going back to businesses, I always hear people say, oh, don't own anything, don't put everything in your trust, get everything out of your name. Please do not go out there and put your personal homes and personal vehicles under a business trust, because that is the purpose of having an LLC. It separates your business assets from your personal assets. Just knowing that, why would you put your personal assets under your business? Trucking companies. If you have a trucking company and somebody goes out there in one of your trucks and, God forbid, unalive somebody, they're gonna sue you. And if you have your personal house and your personal vehicle under that business name, what do you think they're gonna do? Take it. Take it. So that is the reason why you have the LLC, to keep that stuff personal. But then you have your personal stuff under your trust, which again separates your stuff from the outside world. So that is the reason why people set up trusts. And again, to leave legacies. But you also need to know what the tax implications of having trust are as well, because those certain trusts have to be filed on tax returns. I did one for my uncle for all of the property that we have in Louisiana under him, which is separate from mine. But he said he don't want it to leave out of the family at all because it was my grandmother's. So I structured it for that reason. He only has one child. He's going to give her what he's going to give her. But so I did explain to him about the tax implication. He's going to be his own trustee, which is fine. But once he passes on, then I am the successor. Being the trustee of somebody else's trust, you don't put that on your tax return, but that person has to put it on theirs. So there's tax implications of owning trust as well. So even though the trust sounds good, definitely make sure that you're getting it to the one that you need specifically for your family, and to find out what the tax implications are for you. And then when you pass on, what happens to that on somebody else's tax return if it goes on their tax return. So, but anyway, so try to sum it up within 3 to 5 minutes, but those are the 3 key modules that I'll be talking about and discussing and teaching on. And it's so much stuff out there. But as you can see, my shirt says the solution. But we have a lot of problems, but we have to know how to solve them legally and be able to sustain with our businesses, sustain with the taxes, know how to strategize. We also hear people saying, oh, they've been doing this that way for years and centuries, but that doesn't always apply to us. It doesn't always apply to us. But those are the 3 main things that I'll be discussing. LLCs are structuring your businesses, how the tax strategies work, and securing and protecting your assets to leave legacies to your families.
Thank you, Ms. Bridget. Okay, so we have 2 sharks left, and then we're gonna let everybody go. So, Bridget
presentation actually went great into what we're going to be discussing next, which is the part of module 3 with enjoying money. So in this part, we're talking about retirement. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship, legacy planning, and money making money. So the next wise shark is going to be Mr. Christopher Jackson, and he's going to talk to you about entrepreneurship today.
Hello, everyone. So, I'm Chris Jackson. Alright. I'm gonna go a little off script here. Alright, so generally my background is I was mechanical engineering, went to Georgia Tech, graduated, moved to Houston, worked for a company by the name of Rockwell Automation for several years, and then transitioned to working for Microsoft. By the time I started working for Microsoft, I started investing a lot heavier in terms of my assets. Started with a single family home in 2020, then used the equity from that house to get my first single family home investment property in 2022. Then transitioned into my first commercial property, which was a self-storage, Ready Lock Go self-storage in Webster, Texas in 2023. Got my first commercial car wash in 2024, Flying Frog Car Wash, and then just bought another commercial car wash, Flying Bubbles Car Wash off of Kirkendall. And, you know, by the grace of God, I'm still here. So, all in all, when we think about entrepreneurship, the first thing I always ask is, why are you getting into business? And if your answer only has to do with, I want a lot of money, then you're probably going into entrepreneurship for a half-hearted reason, okay? The reality is, a lot of us have worked for someone, right? We all have separate custom experiences for working for people. Their morals may not reside or align with our morals, or business priorities may shift, right? And not fall in line with what you may find important or significant. You may be killing it for 10 years at your company, and then you magically got laid off for no fault of your own, right? This is when we start thinking about entrepreneurship. What are you really going after, right? Is it freedom? Is it, you know, financial wealth and building legacies for your family? Is it something that goes beyond just the dollar sign? Okay, so the purpose of my class for entrepreneurship is to go over, one, why are you getting into business? Because that's really going to be the rocker. That's going to be the core shaker when you actually do go into a business if you aren't already in business. Because if you're only in it for the money, I promise you, for the first 2 to 5 years, you're going to question, man, why am I here, right? So, the purpose of my class is going to go over that. I'm going to start digging deep into the nitty and gritty, right? We touched on some of those topics earlier today. But when we start talking about financing, right? Does anyone in here know what SBA is, Small Business Administration? Do we know the different loan types from the SBA? Okay, that's fine. Do we know how the Treasury is utilized for these type of loans? Okay, you see, so that's the purpose of my course, is to kind of expose that and start to make connection points that we weren't exposed to as much as other groups. For instance, right, you probably heard of Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell. Has anyone heard of that name in the news? Mm-hmm. Or have you heard of interest rates? Have you heard anybody complain about how high interest rates are? Do you know how that actually impacts you on your day-to-day? Right? So when we start thinking about entrepreneurship, we're going to start thinking more microeconomics and macroeconomically. How are we having to go into business while considering these key dynamic points of inflation, of CPI, of what is happening in the political environment? how's that impacting things, right? We gotta start looking at the bigger picture and drawing those connection points from there, all right? So, there's 5 points that I'd love to kind of keep hot with the group. Humble, open, and transparent, all right? Point 1 is, if you have a desire to build your own empire of core values as it relates to your business and establishing that business for your reasons, this class is going to be for you. Straightforward to the point. Point 2, if you've lived and worked long enough, okay, to know the true value of on your terms, not anyone else's terms, but on your terms, this class is going to be for you. If you're ready to understand that jobs have monetary income caps, but entrepreneurship doesn't, this class is for you. I can, in 1,000 ways, tell you how you can come up with $100,000 yesterday, right? That's a common thing in our community, right? We hear, okay, I want to go into business, I want this asset, or that asset, but the bank said I need to come up with $250,000. And what do? We toss away a dream. But hopefully this class teaches you to pick that same dream up that you just tossed out, open it back up, and try at it again. Take a different outlook or perspective. Get creative with your financing. If you're wanting to know the truths, point 4, if you're wanting to know the truths behind business and serve as a pillar of success for setting clear examples in communities that don't have that exposure, okay, this class is for you. My facility, Flying Frog Car Wash, is off of Fondren, okay? Fondren, over the years, has drastically changed. I've had people come to me crying when they see me on that roof fixing something. I come down and they're like, "Who are you, a technician?" I'm like, "No." They said, "You're a janitor?" "No." "So who are you?" "I'm the owner." "You're not white." "Yeah, I know." We don't have enough representation and enough perspective, enough outlook. There's not enough of us. And mind you not, there are us out there, but the rest of the community is not seeing that, right? As an entrepreneur, right, we should be influencing not just our peers, but more importantly, those younger, the kids, right? They should know that, okay, wealth can be something that's attainable and sustainable within our community and can be spread across the community. That is the purpose of this class. Part 5, or point 5, if anything else, because I will go over my personal financials, my business financials during this course, because you got to lead through example. And I want to show real life examples of how I got there so that you can know a clear route, an identifiable route as to how to get there, right? But most importantly, business is about endurance, scale, and opportunity. And if opportunity doesn't knock, you build a door, right? The purpose of this class is to teach you how to build doors. So when you do go to the banks, and the banks say, "Hey, pull out your P&Ls. Where's your profit losses? Let me see your income statements," right? You're coming with that information. Well, how many businesses have you earned? How many businesses have you owned in the past? You own 9. That's fine. Learning to come with the projection sheets. Learning to talk to the right audiences, the right banks for the right use cases that you're going into. Maybe Chase Bank and Wells Fargo and Bank of America shouldn't be the audience set that you're getting catered by. Maybe Navy Federal isn't the right group for what you're trying to do. Learning that there are different lenders for different situations out there is going to be something that I will make very important during this class. So all in all, My scripture for this class is James 2:26. Faith without works is dead. All right? So have the faith to do the work, to show up for an experience that will contribute to creating opportunities for you and others. And with that being said, again, I'm Chris Jackson, and I look forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Okay, so our last shark for today. Any of you interested in retiring with real estate? Anybody looking to invest in real estate? Okay, all right. So our last shark for today is going to be Mr. Eric Parrish. And Eric is going to talk to us about investing in real estate and strategies.
Hello, everybody. I just want to go over two concepts. Number one, has anybody ever heard Chris mention this, the word financial freedom before? Can somebody tell me what that means to them? No right or wrong answer, and you know that everybody probably has something different, but what does that mean?
Debt free and not owing anybody.
Not owing anybody, okay? Anybody else?
Don't have to worry about being broke the next day.
Okay, don't have to worry about being broke.
And you have the freedom to be able to bless others and move throughout the world and move throughout life without burdens.
Absolutely, absolutely. All the right answers. But for our purposes, we're going to define exactly what that is because we're going to have a plan after all these sharks get to talking to you to get there. So the second question, before I get into that, is anybody heard the term passive income? It's really a tax term, but you know, what is that? What's passive income?
Making income without actually physically having to do any work.
Okay, not trading time for money.
Actually working on it.
Okay, anybody else?
Have your money work for you.
Have your money work for you.
Money
Okay,
you make when you're not operating it.
absolutely. When you making money when you're not there, mailbox money.
Making
Right.
money, making money is.
Making money in your sleep.
Okay, okay, all right. So I bring that up because now let's define financial freedom so we can make sure we get there. Passive freedom, financial freedom for our terms is 3 levels. Number one, when passive income, by the way, is when an asset is producing that income instead of you. We want our assets to pay for everything, our bills, our debts, all that kind of stuff there, so we don't have to. So financial freedom, tier 1, we call it, is when passive income equals your basic living expenses. All your bills covered by an asset, a business, real estate, right? So let's just say that number is $4,000, my house, my groceries, all my basic living expenses. But I have an asset or assets paying that $4,000. That's financial freedom, is it not? Tier 1, we'll call that. So passive income equals basic living expenses, tier 1 financial freedom. Tier 2, passive income equals basic living expenses plus lifestyle. Now we have some lifestyle. Let's say we got another $4,000 we want to pay for vacations, you know, and things that we want to buy on a regular basis. So that's $8,000 a month coming from our assets paying for basic living expenses plus lifestyle. That's tier 2 financial freedom. Tier 3, passive income plus equals basic living expenses plus lifestyle plus legacy. This is what we're going to leave behind. What we're going to pay for our causes, our charitable contributions, church, things like that. That's our legacy. That may be another $4,000. So it's $12,000. It's going to be coming from assets, paying for our basic living expenses, paying for our lifestyle, paying for our legacy. That's tier 3. Now, next question. What percentage do you think, we're going to say in America, we're going to go globally. What percentage of Americans do you think has reached tier 1? Talk to me.
I think it's less.
We can't even get 5? Can't even get 3? Can't even get 2? Sadly, you are correct. But why is that? Why is that?
Poor management.
Poor or management, you know.
The
We,
education,
Something going on.
yeah, we got to crack that code, obviously. So that's what the Sharks are going to bring to the table on this event. And I'm going to be talking about how you can do real estate. We're going to be talking about how you can do business, and we need all of these other, well, these Sharks, the real estate people, the accountants, the insurance, all of those play an integral part of reaching tier 1. Now, obviously, one comes before 2 and 3, right? We're going for tier 1, right? Don't say it's talking about 3 tier, you know, can't jump over 2, you know, and 1 to get 3, right? So we're going to talk about how we're going to use real estate and everybody and all these other assets to pay for our basic living expenses. We're going to find that, and we can do it in 6 years or less. Real quick, with the right strategy and the right plan. In real estate, I know, and definitely in business, we can do this, right? And we have the right team. And so that's what you're going to get. I'm not going to spend any more time talking about that, just I'm looking forward. I'm so happy to be here. Thank Denise for bringing these Sharks together. Thank you guys for showing up, because that's the first step. We'll see you guys. Entertain.
Thank you, Mr. Parrish. Okay, so that is the end of our presentation. So at this point, does anyone have questions for any of the instructors? No questions? Yes, there we go.
I'll catch you later.
Oh, okay. All right, well, that is it then. I do appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys for coming out. We will be able to start registering for these classes November 23rd, I think is when they will first start setting it up for people to register for the classes, and they will be starting in January. They'll be starting in January. Yes, ma'am.
If you don't mind, since we're recording, and so we can post this on outlets, can you just talk to the audience that'll be watching this recording on what this is all about? What
So
it's
this
all about,
is-
like you just said, when it's gonna be open session, when it's gonna start, tell them about the different segments and all that good stuff.
Okay, so it's the Wise Money Initiative, and we are doing our first classes here at Crossover Bible Fellowship. And we have 4 different modules that we'll be teaching on. The first module is going to be on, let me go back through a bit. The first module is going to be on new money. So if you are new to finances, we'll be teaching on credit and budgeting, career planning, home planning, or home buying, investment accounts, and then also different insurance options. When we get into module 2, we will go a little bit more into working money. So now you have started your career, now you're figuring out, okay, what's my next step? So now this is the nuts and bolts of wealth construction. So we will be having classes on investing in insurance, more into the beginning phases of real estate, family business, refinancing, and then debt management. When we get into module 3, this is where we will be talking about enjoying our money, because now we are working, we've been in our career for a while, prayerfully we have some savings, credit is where we want it to be, so now we want to start enjoying our money. So this is the fun part of wealth construction, where we will go into teaching about retirement, different ways to retire, entrepreneurship, legacy planning, and then making money. In module 4, that is money trials. So this is the struggles of wealth construction. We can all, associate with the struggles. So this is life circumstances, different things that can happen at different points in our life that can affect our finances. This is money mindset, because that's important for our mindset to be correct in order to get to our goals financially. Money and marriage, which was what Tanya talked about, and then also boundaries, because in boundaries we're going to talk about if we have kids that are still living with us as adults, if we have people that are borrowing money and we trying to figure out ways. Sometimes people have a hard time saying no when people are borrowing money, so we are going to talk about boundaries as well in money trials, and that is basically what the Wise Money will be about in 2026. So the classes will start in January. They will be once a week, a 2-hour class, And each class, each class is 1 week for 2 hours. And we're gonna have, some instructors are gonna teach on Thursdays, some will teach on Saturdays. And the classes will probably end up going all the way, by the time we get through all of the classes, it'll probably be through the middle of the year. Okay.
And their cost for the class.
No, the classes are free. The classes are free. You'll be able to come in person to the classes here on campus in the classrooms, but you will also have access to where you can log in online and take the class as well. So if you have people that you know that are outside of Houston that may want to take the classes, or you think this is something that will work for them, they should be able to do it as well online. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I do appreciate your time. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll let you guys communicate with the Sharks. They are here. One last thing, if you guys filled out the survey, if you leave them on the table, because I'm going to grab them. Thank you.
The biggest thing, is just how they get the most money, the quickest way. That's not gonna last very long. She's just 16 I want one of these one day. But I need to have this to do that.